Welcome back, friends, and hello to everyone new. I am self-diagnosed ADHD, and I just figured this out like 2 years ago. And all my life, I've pretty much felt like a magical being. I have had the experience of being hyper productive, a total doer. I've often gotten like the admiration of people. How do you get so much done? How do you do so much? I have to be honest, I do so much because I have a million projects going on at the same time that I flip between and just put a little bit in that bucket and then a little bit in that bucket and then a little bit in that bucket, and somehow some of the things get completed eventually and get checked off and get done. That's the secret to my success of how I have been hyper productive with ADHD. I want to show you what that looks like, because right now my office, it's not always like this, but often it's like this. It is a perfect representation of my brain. So I want to show you all of this because I know a lot of people get in their heads and get judgmental about how many things they've started. And if you do that, then you're gonna get in the way of being productive, of getting things done, in my view, from my experience, if you have ADHD or AuDHD. Because this is the secret to my success, is I have free reign to create new things without shame and move on to the next thing when I need to, because eventually some things will be completed. So I want to give you a tour. And first, I just want to note, use these magazines as a representation for all the open projects that I have, all the books I'm currently writing, the essays I'm writing, the videos I'm producing, and note that they go on forever. There are lots and lots of magazines. There are lots and lots of open loops in my life. Here is my laptop and some lists of things, you can't see it and that's probably a good thing, that I wanted to do for social media. Here is a notebook filled with business ideas. So I'm a list maker. Oh, and look at that. Another magazine. I'm a list maker, and sometimes I immediately avoid that list. And sometimes I'll go back to it in 2 years and it'll be like, oh my God, I'm so glad I made that list. This is a pile of mostly notebooks, but also books written by people I know that I was going to make a video about. Like basically reading my old journal and looking in my old intuitive art stuff. So that is like, here's like a business video idea. This is some camping and backpacking gear that I've been organizing. I did make a video packing my backpacking pack, which I decided not to edit because it was 45 minutes of boring and not necessarily what I want to share on the internet. So yeah, I do things that never see the light of day, which is fine. I'm totally okay with that. It's kind of like if you've ever watched a cooking show, like somebody burns something and they still put it on their plate to serve. Like, why would you do that? Just start fresh. Just random stuff that was in one of these bags is now on my floor, including 2 tents. Here though is my brand new winter running vest pack, packed for a hike I was going to do today. So all of the stuff that I need is in there, minus the water, which I pre-filled and put in the fridge. Here are the clothes I was gonna wear on my hike today, already picked out for me for the morning because I was gonna leave early, until I decided not to go. Here is my charged camera for hiking that was in a spot near my hiking clothes. So now you can see I've already got a lot going on. I have business lists, video idea, video that I scrapped, organization to do, hike that I was gonna do today. And we haven't even gotten to the bulk of my desk. here is a checklist for what I want to work on today. And you can see there's too many things. Okay, homework is all these assignments. So lots of homework. There's no way I can do all of that in one day, which I was aware of. 2 different things for my Substack, Multidimensional Human video. This is what I'm doing. And I'm probably doing it because of the question mark, because I left myself space. It wasn't a demand, it was a question. So if you suffer from demand avoidance like I do, a lot of times we rebel against our lists because they become demands. But when we leave ourselves space, then it's like, oh, that's the fun thing to do now. So maybe that's why I'm making you a video, I don't know. Transcribe a book, which is going to take hours, and automate my Hire Your Higher Self course for my app. So the rest is pretty much my norm. Like, I always have these drawings hung up. I use my intuitive art oracle deck several times a day. I used it once today to do a reading for my friend, once for me. I have books that I haven't read. I have plants I have to water and repot. I'm just awash of things to do. Several years ago, I got so overwhelmed with the amount of things that I had open that I made an index card oracle deck. And so when I had a moment of free time, I would just shuffle this deck here, pull a card, and let that tell me what to work on for that moment. I think there were 30 or so things, and I wasn't in school then. I didn't have as much going on then. So here is what it would say for right now. Intuitive art video. All right, well, I did mention intuitive art in this video, so that's gonna count. Multidimensional memoir. That is a book that I sort of made an intermediate step in and turned into a Substack. So that's another thing that I do is if I have too big of a goal, I will sometimes ask myself, how can I accomplish this with the resources I have available now? So instead of writing a whole book before that's done, I turned it into a Substack so I can write episodically, basically. Like, I could release one essay at a time. And I feel like I'm slowly getting there. I'm still working on the voice that I want to present on that, which is good because that's what you would do with a book too. You'd write your shitty first draft and then you'd get a full edit and then you'd rewrite it, basically. So I'm doing that in real time instead of just completing an entire book, which is a lot of bandwidth. I've written books and I've published books, and it takes a lot of effort to focus on something like that for so long. In fact, one of the things in here is working on a screenplay that I was commissioned to write, and that was so hard. I had to use every tool that I had to get through that because I couldn't let it go for years. I had a deadline. I had several, actually. I was doing it for someone else. It wasn't my story, so I had to really pay attention to her story in order to tell it well in a screenplay. And I used the Pomodoro method, where I would put in a timer for 25 minutes and then have a small break and just keep doing it over and over and over and over again. I worked at night because I feel like my brain is more fluid and creative at night. So my partner was making dinners for a long time and bringing food up here for me. I did all the things I could do to utilize my natural strengths and hopefully keep at bay the things that were trying to derail me. But it was very taxing. Would I do it again? Yes, because I love to write and I have tools that I can use. If your brain is like mine and it's filled with all these things, and when you get a moment off, it's telling you to do them all, and then you get overwhelmed and you can't do anything, here are my ways of helping that. First of all, self-acceptance is really key, because if you make yourself wrong, you're just putting an emotional burden on yourself, and it's going to be really hard to dig yourself out of that. So I meditate regularly, and even if it's just for a quick 2-minute check-in during the day, if I close my eyes, calm down, connect, and I have my intention be to connect with my higher self, connect with my higher energy, whatever you call that is fine, but I have a visceral change in my body when I do that. I feel an energy, a buzzing, a relaxation, and that helps me get back into my truth, which is that I'm an unlimited being. The overwhelm then goes away because overwhelm is scarcity. So I don't have to do everything at once. In fact, I cannot. I can do one thing at a time. That's it. I might change that frequently, but I can still only do one thing at a time. That is what I do. I focus on one thing at a time, and when I need to switch, or when my brain switches for me, or when I'm avoiding something that has become a demand, I flow with it. I'm okay with it. I let it go, and I try to understand that as much as I can and to express that to the people around me. Like when my partner asks me what I want for dinner and it's nowhere near dinner and I'm not hungry, I have no idea what I want for dinner. That becomes a demand. He now knows I'm just not going to be able to answer him. I'm not going to be able to know what I want for dinner until I'm hungry. There's just all kinds of things that you can do in your life to calm yourself down, self-accept, meditate, center, ground, maybe clear the space a little bit with some intuitive art or some movement. Another thing that really helps me is only doing things I love. If my day is filled with things I don't want to do, I am not going to be able to do anything that day. I mean, if I have like a dentist appointment or something in the middle of the day, I'm not doing anything that morning. I am incapable. And this may be more of the autism part than the ADHD part, but it's basically ruined my whole day. And so when I go to the dentist, I know that's going to happen and I'm okay with that. I plan for that, right? If I have to wait for my cleaners to arrive, and they arrive at all different times between like 10 and 11:30, which I know is only an hour and a half span, but for me, I'm hyper vigilant the whole time waiting for them to arrive. I'm okay with that. I know I'm not going to get anything done in that hour and a half because my brain is going to be focused on when they're ringing the doorbell. That's just how it goes, and that's okay. So creating some understanding, some compassion, some self-love for yourself and for others, it really does smooth the edges and it allows you to get more done, because if you think about it, if you are ADHD, you are hypersensitive. A lot of information coming in all the time, a lot of processing happening, you're very overstimulated easily. And then if you add on top of that self-hatred, judgment, wanting to change yourself, thinking you're not enough, that is going to make your life so much harder. Getting things done so much harder, because now you're constricting yourself, you're contorting yourself, you're trying to be something the world wants you to be, but you cannot be because of your brain wiring. But you can live your life, you can have productivity, you can do things you want to do, you can get by with some self-love. So give it a try. I know this was maybe stuff you already knew, maybe what you needed to hear, but love yourself, give yourself a break, do more of what you are excited by, allow yourself to switch tasks, fill as many containers or buckets as you need to, and eventually you'll get some things done and you'll be super proud, but you'll just keep moving on to the next thing, because I'm more in this for the process. I love making things, I love writing things, I love doing things, and when I get something done, it's great for a couple minutes and then I'm on to the next. That also could be because we have less dopamine response. We're not as proud of ourselves, we're not as enthralled with the getting things done, the achievement, as some neurotypicals are, but that's okay. Be in it for the journey. Okay, lots of love. If you want more videos like this, let me know. Bye for now.